Do you have a kid who's glued to the screen and you don't know what to do? Stick around for these helpful solutions. Hey Flourish fam, I'm Carla, a school counselor turned home cultivator and hopeless lover of the family. Grab that pile of laundry, mama, and join me for chats on intentional parenting that helps families flourish. Before we jump in, if you're new here, hey mama, hey! We'd love for you to stick around, so hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to get more on how to help your home thrive. All right, as a former school counselor in brick and mortar and virtual environments, I couldn't tell you how many times a parent or guardian approached me about this very topic. It's a valid concern and a scary place to be as a parent, but not all hope is lost. First and foremost, I want to encourage you, mama, to know that with consistency and determination, you can really move the meter on this one. And the first place to start is to start looking for those telltale signs. Does your child show interest in other activities? Does she get extremely angry when screen time's over? Does your child glaze over when that device isn't present, thinking about that virtual world? How often is dialogue exchanged between your child and others in person, whether that's at home or with peer groups? From there, it's time to have those family discussions. Oftentimes, parents feel like they just arrived at these issues because media is a slippery slope, and many times, parents think that tech is fairly benign, so they don't give it a forethought. The other side of this, if we're honest, is that media, it's easy. If we're handing it over or allowing free reign because it gets them out of our hair, we have to rethink our motives on this one. It's the difference between intentional parenting and lazy parenting. And what's easy isn't often what's best. So if there's one caution you heed in this, it's take back control in this area and set healthy house rules around technology. Y'all, there's so much research on the ill effects of excessive screen time on kids, but just to name a few, anxiety, depression, obesity, attention deficits, rage, and aggression are at the top of the list. So buckle up because the future adult in your home really needs you on this one. There are a few resources I highly recommend to parents in this space. The TechWise Family by Andy Crouch really walks through some great parameters for the family. I also highly recommend reading The Collapse of Parenting by Leonard Sachs. If you really want to cook your noodle, read this book and thank me later. You guys, this is probably one of the top books that I recommend for parents to read. I'll drop links for all these resources I share in the description box. So here are the simple things that we use in our home to manage this area and to help our kids really learn to navigate technology in a healthy way. The first thing we do, we control the remote, or any device for that matter. We treat screen time like ice cream. It's a treat. So in addition to controlling the remote, we also require our kids to say thank you after they've had screen time. When we first introduced screen time in our home, there was some drama. Our little ones really struggled with screen time being over. So if you're interested in how we navigate screen time and how we walk through that, please let me know if that's something you're interested in me sharing. But after screen time's over, we require them to say thank you so that they acknowledge themselves that screen time is in fact a treat. It's not necessary and it's certainly not required. The other really important thing that we do in our home as it pertains to technology is we do not allow tech at the table. If you've ever come to our house for dinner, you already know this one, but we really and truly feel like the table is a sacred space in our home and we reserve that as a tech-free space unless it is for a shared experience. So if someone has something they want to share with their device, then we would allow tech to be at the table. But typically that's not the case. Our kids are much younger, so we do not just let them have a tablet or a phone or anything for that matter at the table. Now, I also want to preface this with saying that the American Academy of Pediatrics does not recommend screen time for kids under 2 years old. Some sources you might find them saying under 18 months, but really and truly between that 18 and 24 month window, you really don't want to give your kids screen time. It's like feeding them sugar water instead of giving them nutritional breast milk. It's just not good. Also, it's recommended that older kids have no more than 2 hours of screen time a day. That includes video game times, television shows, scrolling through social media. Really and truly, especially having worked as a school counselor, I would really discourage parents from leaning in too hard into screen time. And another big one I really recommend parents doing is forming other family habits. A loose paraphrase of Charlotte Mason, but really and truly, we want to lay the feast before them. So I will say that as you're going through this, your kids will likely gripe. That's okay, and that's very normal. Find alternatives as a family. We have to ask ourselves why we've even allowed our family to lean into tech as much as we have in the past. Let's be honest about these things so we can move forward. So what are some things you can do instead? Here are 4 things you can try. 1, go outside. There are countless studies and research on the benefits of going outside. In fact, about 42% of Americans have vitamin D deficiencies, which guess what? The body produces through sun exposure. And vitamin D directly impacts mood, fatigue, and even muscle weakness. Getting outside is a no-brainer. Maybe pick a different local trail or park to explore each week with your child. 2, read aloud, and whenever possible, read together. Studies are finding that read alouds activate the same part of the brain as reading written text, so bonus points for literacy. Plus, the conversations that are had around shared experiences are incredible and so worth it, mama. And here's the thing, popping on an audiobook or podcast work too. We use a free app called Hoopla that's free through our public library, so don't sleep on a good Freesource. See what I did there? I also recommend the Yoto Mini Player. This gadget is so cool in that it gives your child a device of sorts that plays audiobooks. This one is great for road trips or quiet time for your kiddos, and it bakes in some literacy skills too. Remember, kids learn complex language structures through hearing it before they can ever read it or write it. And of course, encourage your child to read. Head to the library with the biggest bag you can find and load up. Make it fun. Let your kids see you reading as well. I just gave you some recommendations. Remember, behaviors are caught and not taught. Also, if you like this video, you might also like this one. If you stuck around this long, thank you. Like this video if you thought it was helpful and share it with a friend. Let's stay in touch. So subscribe and hit that notification bell for more intentional parenting chats to help your family flourish. Bye.